Awesome. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Unique, Not Different with me, Shamba. Today, you're seeing a familiar face, Raenne Hutton, who is a sign language interpreter, and she wears many hats. She is a lead singer of Parang band, sign language interpreter, and also an advocate for persons with disabilities. She's here not as a sign language interpreter, but to share her story of having parents who are deaf and hard of hearing, but she's someone who is, who isn't deaf or hard of hearing. So, good morning, Raenne. How are you doing?
Good morning, Shamla. I'm good, and you?
I'm fantastic, thanks. So, let's begin. Growing up with deaf parents, right? What
Mhm.
early experience inspired your passion for sign language and accessibility?
Well, growing up with deaf parents, I got to see firsthand the barriers, the frustrations, and additionally, there are some good things, but the barriers and the frustrations what made me decide, like, I'm stuck between the hearing and the deaf world. Mom taught me sign language before I learned to speak properly. And I noticed that it was frustrating for my parents, especially in public spaces. And I just wanted to make the world less frustrating for deaf people.
Yeah, it's as simple as that, right? And
Yes.
doing what you have to do. You went from interpreting for your family and
Mhm.
interpreting to communicate with your family to being seen nationwide on TV. How has that public role changed your sense of responsibility?
Well, because I just as a child interpreting for mom and dad alone, um, that was more private, you know. Then after, like, I think I was 6 years old when I was asked to interpret for deaf people, like more than just my parents. And I think it's just like a step from private to public. And
Mm-hmm.
it's just, I feel proud. I hope I'm making my parents proud, carrying that culture and the deaf community with me every time I step in front of camera or anywhere public.
Ryan, I think you should feel very proud because you could have done so much, but you choose to take that responsibility, as I just mentioned, and use sign language in other realms, in the public space and to help others, to sign for others, and also to facilitate, I guess, creating that small in that gap, right? So you should feel very proud. So you have a 10-month-old daughter
Yes.
and and she's already growing up with family who is deaf, right? In
Yes.
everyday life, what does it mean to you to give her that foundation early? And how do you hope to shape her understanding of family and identity?
Um, I feel very proud of her. She started saying things like tea already. Tea, like does tea. Anyway, little things. And sometimes when she sees my dad talking, she would start to she don't know what she's saying, but I feel proud looking at her, and I just hope that when she gets older, she feels proud as well. Proud that she has deaf grandparents, proud that she grew up in a household that is both has speech and sign language. You know, um, and I hope it teaches her things like empathy, um, patience, pride. You know, so that's what I'm really hoping that gets instilled in her from a young age.
I think it will, and it will also help her in terms of even in public space when she meets someone who is deaf and hard of hearing or someone who is probably has a disability, she would know, hey, they are normal too, and she would go and interact with them.
Yes.
Yeah,
She's
it's
just
all
gonna be
about
like, hey, oh, you're
exposure.
deaf? Oh, my grandparents are deaf. My mom signs, I can sign too. And she starts, something.
Exactly. So, um, you're also a vocalist in a parang band. What does parang mean to you personally? And how does the music connect to your deaf roots?
Okay, I'm Parang. Parang is music, and music is dynamic. Parang is dynamic. It's a form of expression, just like signing. As you see, I'm speaking with my hands unintentionally. It's just a form of expression, and parang is just that for me as well. It's how it connects to my deaf roots. I guess it connects to my deaf roots as a form of expression. Yeah, parang is, I don't know, I can't even bring it to words. It's not seasonal for me. It's a combination of everything. It's a combination of the reason for the season, Christmas. It's a combination of language, sign language, Spanish, because there are times I perform and there are deaf people in the crowd, and I do interpret, I do sign in English while singing in Spanish. But it's just expression, it's enjoyment. And music is not something that you hear only, it's something that you feel, something that you see, believe it or not, you know?
And having deaf parents and being in this right realm, parang realm, and how do they interact in terms of musically with you?
Well, music, as I said, for the deaf is something that you feel and see. So, like mom used to tell me, when she hears the box bass, well, not hears, but she feels the box bass, that boom, 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 and then everybody moving in a synchronized rhythm. That's how she enjoys the music. So that's how music is perceived to her, you know?
Yes.
So, yeah.
So how can parang and other festive arts become more inclusive for the deaf and hard of hearing performance and audience?
In some ways, it already is inclusive in the sense that, we have choreo, we have things that depict, because at the end of the day, too, your audience is not always going to understand Spanish. So, so it's at the moment, there are parts of it that's already accessible for you to understand what's happening, what's going on and stuff. But I think things like workshops, things like, because my mom, again, of course, I'll be pulling from her, she was in a choir, you know what I mean?
Really?
So, yes, so it's just part of being included. It shouldn't be an afterthought. It shouldn't be a privilege for a deaf person to be involved in music or parang in any kind of way. But things like workshops that are more accessible, teaching about parang and understanding what it's about, how you can be a part of the band, that kind of thing. I think maybe for both the hearing and the deaf world, that's something that can be explored.
And what legacy or language or culture and pride do you hope to pass on, not only to your daughter, but also to Trinidad and Tobago?
For my daughter, the joy of parang, the joy of sign language, the joy of community, the joy of bringing people together. That's the legacy I would like to leave for her. Something that is outward, not for self, but for others. Where she can see and try to bridge that gap, especially being exposed to so many facets. That is something that she can, maybe continue and carry forward, being that bridge here in deaf, musical, non-musical, deaf people who've never been introduced to sign language before. I mean, to parang music before. It's just so many facets that can come together so beautifully. And I guess I hope in seeing her mom do that, she can build on that, things that I could never imagine. And that's what I hope to leave, understanding accessibility is not just a privilege. It is not a privilege. It's more of a right.
Exactly.
It's something that should just be
normal
in nature. Yeah.
And in closing, right? What would you like to tell Trinidad and Tobago, especially being in that, on both sides, somebody who is a vocal and speaking, but yet somebody who has their parents, what would you like to tell Trinidad and Tobago in terms of, I guess, accepting and also, being able to communicate differently with different persons, What would you like to leave?
Embrace sound and silence with the same respect, and everything will just be homogenous after that.
So this was really a fantastic interview. I was excited throughout this interview. You're an incredible person and you always bring positive aura and energy anytime you're around someone. Trust me. So thank you. Thank you so much, Raenne. And I know I will see you on my segment again in the future. So it's always a pleasure. And guys, I want to say thank you so much for tuning into this week's segment of Unique Not Different. As I always say, be good, do good. Bye everyone.